All right, hey everybody, welcome to the final episode of our 12 episode series. So I'm on with the lovely Taylor, who's the one who orchestrated and managed this entire process, put this together for you. And honestly, this could probably be the intro video because we can talk through everything that we did now that we got everything all done. But anyway it goes, this is technically episode 12. So we're just going to talk through what we did. How are you doing today, Taylor? You all right?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Of course. I love talking to you, and I especially am very proud of the work that you did. So let's start. We're just going to go through episode by episode, talk about what we talked about, why we talked about it, and how it went, essentially. That's sort of the goal here, is essentially to just put it together in a way where it all makes sense, because as we were doing it, of course, we were building it as we go. We planned it out, but we were building it as we go. And let's talk about, first of all, episode 1 was the setup episode, which is essentially about turning the down market upside down, which is how you take a market that most people would say is in a downward turn, what they call a bear market versus a bull market, and actually turn it in favor of your business. In this case, law firms of any kind, but these are for any kind of service and some sort of high-end service like law or architecture, or it doesn't really matter. It could be basically anything related to service. But for our context, it's the legal profession. So how do you turn a down market upside down for a law firm? That was really what it was about. And we talked about, all the things we've done to help the firm, move forward and actually do well in a not so good market. Episode 2 was a branding overhaul. We really deep dived here. We went into all the things that we did in terms of the style guide and the identity standards and for the law firm, and how we set up our logos, why we changed them. We really talked pretty deeply about it. So Taylor, you were here for this whole thing, and you helped manage the style guide and everything. What are your thoughts on the importance of the style guide, what we said in the video and in the previous episode, in episode 2? Any thoughts?
When I first started working on the style guide, when Mars came to me and said, hey, we need to create a style guide for EP Legal, I was like, I never heard of this style guide before, because I'm not a designer and I'm not used to something like that. And he explained everything to me, and how to put all the content up, and then the design, how to work with the designer to get everything done. And after that, the final product seems really cool, because we changed the whole thing, but we want to be better. So we came up with really with a more professional look. We changed the logo, the tagline, the color palette, and we put everything in the style guide to make sure any other companies or anyone designer want to use EP Legal logo.
Yeah, and so what's good about this is, all these things, the style guide, the profile, the video examples, those are all inside the membership site, as you know, because you've gotten here. But essentially, every one of the examples and the slides for that particular episode is all in there. So you've already seen the style guide. You already know how detailed Taylor of a job Taylor did. She had never particularly worked on a style guide before, but because not a lot of people, they don't even understand why you need one. But it really does speed up the process when you're managing people, when you can just send them the style guide and everything's right there, and then they get 70% of the way there without you having to talk to them. So it saves a lot of time, and it ends up keeping everything very, very consistent. But that was all the handiwork of Taylor and our designers and stuff. So episode 3 was a website. Now we started with the style guide because we really wanted to set up how everything is built. But the website is a great example of how the style guide actually helps, because the style guide is actually what informed the designers that worked on and the developers that worked on the website for eplegal.com, how to basically make it look, And then one thing is, I always do what I call a circular update process, which is, we have the style guide done, but then the stuff that we actually did on the website, Taylor, you can talk about this because you manage the entire website design and development.
As Mark said, the style guide helped a lot in the process of creating the website. We have the idea, we have the base already, and then now we just need to use it, more material to build up a house. We want to aim for professional look, something matches the style guide, and we make sure the font, the colors, and everything has to be 100% match the style guide.
But at the end of the day, Episode 3 was all about the style guide and how the style guide works. And so every firm, that's sort of where you're going to want to start when it comes to your branding. You want to make sure that your brand is dialed in. Everybody's clear on it. And I mean visually dialed in and also linguistically dialed in, you know, because as an attorney, you know that words matter. So make sure if you didn't do it already, you go back and you watch that episode again and you go through the style guide and watch it. Make sure you check that out. Now, next was the firm profile. This is another case of something that you do that a lot of people don't take very seriously. Like, for instance, EP Legal's previous firm profile was basically just typed out paper with some logos on it and a bunch of words, right? But we wanted something that looked really, really professional and something that really communicated how seriously the firm takes its reputation. Because when it comes to a law firm, I think there's no denying the fact that reputation is everything. And I mean, what I mean is, law firms don't make money, they don't generate revenue and create clients the same way that a lot of businesses do. Like if you're selling a widget of some kind, you basically just run ads and somebody sees your food or sees your toy or sees whatever your thing is and they might click and buy it right then. That's not going to happen with law services. Legal services, not going to happen. Your business comes from your reputation. And since reputation is everything, this stuff has to look top notch. So here's a case with the firm profile where everything looks top notch and the style is all very consistent and so forth. So Taylor, I'll also let you talk about this a little bit. What are your thoughts on the profile and how it represents the firm and the adjustments we made, including all of the individual industry profiles?
Yeah, I took a look at the previous website from EP Legal. Like, I have to say, it's not very detailed. And also the profile is like something very important when you go to meet the client. You have to like show that one first. It's just like represent the image of the company. So they look at the profile. If they're interested, then they might start like continuing the business with you or might start like doing something big with you. So the profile needs to be very professional, like precise and detailed. And also like what different from the previous profile is that we put everything into different categories. Like we have 3 like important parts. The first one is about the company. The second part is about the partners and all the team members. And the last one is about the industry, all the practice areas. So I think it's very detailed. Yeah, I think all of the other law firms should like follow this and then do a professional like profile like this.
100%. And then you can, like I said, you can find the profile with episode 4. You can actually go back and find it, download it in case you missed it. Make sure that you see what we actually put in there, because it is like Taylor said, it's broken up very clearly. And I think most law firms, they sort of mix their industries with their practice areas. Practice area is arbitration. Practice area is transactional work. Practice area is stuff related to the stuff that you actually do. Industries, like EP Legal functions in the shipping industry, they function and they operate in the oil and gas, the energy industry, the construction industry. Those are 2 separate areas. And so how we broke that up is actually one of the things I see as a little bit deficient for a lot of other law firms. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and keep going, but you should definitely check out the profile and modeling. So next is episode 5, which was virtual networking and social syndication. So essentially we did 2 videos on this concept because it's that important for any business. But we talked about LinkedIn strategies, profile development, content creation, engagement, hashtag strategy, performance analytics, and all that stuff. And you can go back and you can get all that. And Taylor, since we're at episode 12, those would be some good things. The stuff that we're actually talking about in the video here, we should put some of it in there as like little bonus materials so that they can actually see. But like, let's show them like what does it look like when you run a report to actually compare your engagement versus your views versus your other metrics, right? Your analytics. I think that would be kind of cool. And then we talked about the different social platforms. For law firms in general, I feel like pretty much your biggest one is going to be LinkedIn, because that's the place where other people see. We talked about this in the episode. That's where other professionals who might be looking for lawyers for whatever their situation is are going to see. But I think after that is probably YouTube, Facebook, then TikTok. And those are the 4 that we sort of concentrate on. We don't really focus on TikTok just yet, but that's what we focused on in the videos. But it can be different depending upon what type of firm you are. And a lot of lawyers really go hard on YouTube, let's say. But I think LinkedIn is your best bet. And we talked a lot about that. Yeah, so episode 6 was about the power of storytelling. Now I could talk all day about this, but even here in this video, you'll notice we're basically telling the story. Telling the story of growth and development and growth of our firm's brand, and how we thought about it and sort of how the pieces fit together, what the pluses and minuses are. Everything is a story, but we like to take it one step further and actually tell a real story. So So in this case, EP Legal is a boutique firm, international reach and so forth. But at the end of the day, the fact that it's a small firm that quite often beats very big firms and big corporations, and is kind of known for that, makes it sort of like this David and Goliath story that we really wanted to tell, right? So we storyboarded everything, we mapped everything out, exactly what we wanted to have in the video, and then we actually produced the video to go with it. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this in your firm where you sort of like, you actually, storyboard everything. But if you really want to tell a story, and you can see the video for this David and Goliath video is on the page with episode 6 stuff. But you definitely want to tell some sort of story. So let's actually get to the slide with the video.
EP Legal is a very unique firm. Before EP Legal, they were all international law firms.
And for the other law firms, they are very international, they are very big, they are very huge, are giants. We are Vietnamese law firm, and we're proud of our nation.
EP Legal is a very unique firm. Before EP Legal, they were all international law firms.
And for the other law firms, they are very international, they are very big, they are very huge, are giants. We are Vietnamese law firm, and we're proud of our nation.
As you can see from that video, both of them tell a story. Both of those videos, those teasers, they tell a story, right? They tell a story about the partners and the firm, which leads us into episode number 7, which is post-event follow-up strategies, okay? This is pretty important, and we really did go into the details of how do you actually handle events? What do you do at the events? What's the actual process? So we laid this out from end to end, so you should definitely watch this episode. Step 1 is mingle like a pro. Step 2 is gather business cards. Step 3 is put it into a bucket. Put it into one of 3 buckets so that your team knows how to follow up with them, so you're not doing it yourself, okay? If you want to know how to make the most out of all the business cards you get from an event, that's the episode that you really want to watch, okay? Number 4 is do follow up. This could be email, this could be phone calls, this could be LinkedIn, and some of them you're going to want to follow up with yourself, probably like 10 or 20%, but the other 70 or 80%, 80 or 90%, you're going to want your team to follow up with, and you need a structure for them. So Taylor, do me a favor on this one, put a couple of screenshots or documents, put the actual, what we send to people, like so that they can actually see in action, and maybe a couple screenshots in the PDF of LinkedIn, like the LinkedIn follow-up as well. So email follow-up, LinkedIn follow-up, just like maybe 5 or 6 pages of like, I think that would be pretty handy. So hopefully you enjoy it. You will have already seen this by the time you get to this episode, but that's what's there. This is how we roll. It's like this. All right. So the bucket list thing is what I'm talking about. Like bucket 1 is definitely going to meet this person and need to follow up with them because it's probably going to lead somewhere. Bucket 2 is possible meeting desired, and 80 or 90% of these your team is going to follow up with, maybe only 10% that you feel really good about. And then bucket 3 is a general thank you. Now, most people wouldn't follow up with bucket 3 because if you go to an event, you're probably going to get 5 cards that are, for sure follow up with them, and maybe 20 cards that are maybe I should meet with this person. And then that leaves you with 75 business cards, if you were to gather 100 business cards, that are just somebody you want to say thank you to, that you should say thank you to. And the thing is, we talked about this at length in the video episode, is you get just as much business from each of those buckets because there's more in each of them. There's only 5 in the, 5 or maybe 10 in bucket 1, and only 1 or 2 of those are going to lead to business. There's 20 or 25 in bucket 2, and only 10% of those will lead to business, but 10% of 25 is still 2. And there's 80 or so, 70 or 80 in bucket 3, but again, probably 1 or 2 in 80 is going to lead to business. They might be down the road, but all of them have 2 2 clients in them. Every single one of them has 2 clients in them. Most of the time people just don't do the 3rd bucket because they think, oh, this isn't going to lead anywhere. But you need to have a process in place. We talk about this in the video, so I digress. But you should definitely be putting people into 3 buckets and following up accordingly. Okay. Episode 8 is strategic event mastery. Okay. And really, these 2 probably should have been flipped, but this is the order that we did them in. This is talking about how you actually choose the events that you go to, and you know, that you even draw your follow-up from. Okay. So there's events that you attend, there's events that you speak at and present at, and then there's events that you sponsor. It breaks up into those 3 types, and we really dove deep on the different types and what you need to bring with you and all that. So next is episode 9. In episode 9, we talked about the law firm ranking sites. How do you get ranked on them? How do they work? You know? And we talked about the three pillars. And Taylor, I'll let you talk about this because you actually know even more about this than I do. There's the sophistication of the work, they rank on that. Then there is clients, they interview clients of yours that you gave them references to. And then there's bench strength, which I'll let Taylor explain all this. So Taylor, go ahead and talk through this a little bit.
So ranking size plays a very important part, like in like expanding your business, because when they find the law firms, they will go to Google or internet and search for it, or they will go to ranking sites. And it's good if you have your company name on it. And our team did really detailed research on of the ranking site, Legal 500, Chamber, and then also Asia Law. And most of them have the 3 key pillars to formulate their rankings. The first one is sophistication of work, includes the size of the deals, the value of the matters, the complexity, and then they will see if it's a cross-border matter or across practice areas or not. And then the next one is client service. They will count the total volume of the feedback they receive from the client you used to work for. They will contact the client through two types of interview. The first one is written interview, and the second one is online interview, virtual interview. And the client can choose the interview type that they want. And this is very interesting because they have the management dashboard where you can follow up and see the update of the clients they contact. And if you see any client who is unable to contact, swap out that person with another client to make sure.
And on that, one thing that I do want to say, and then you can just cover bench strength real quick, is if you saw episode 9, you noticed that we actually included screenshots of the ranking sites. We had an inside conversation with them and found out how does their ranking site actually work. How does it function, and how does their referral system actually function and work, right? And then you can talk about bench strength too if you want to.
Yeah, the last one, bench strength, is about how well your team is deal with a variety of complex matters, and also how many team members are involved in the project you submitted. Yeah, that's all for 3 pillars for the ranking sites.
Yeah, and so I won't go through all these steps because we went through the last thing pretty deeply, and we did this in the episode. But essentially, we broke this down into every single step that you need to do if you want to get ranked on those sites. And I didn't find a lot of good information about those sites out there. There's a little bit, but this episode was a pretty detailed measure on our part. So hopefully you checked that out. And then we focused on a couple of them, but we're on pretty much all of these. And so essentially you want to make sure that you're on these sites, these ranking sites, and you know exactly how they work. So hopefully you checked out that episode. Episode 10, a roadmap to social content success. Now, this is one where it's we already did social content. Yeah, but there's different angles. And honestly, I could have made a whole series just on this. So we did cover it again, and we just talked about written content versus we do AI video content, which is the next episode. Then we do what we call cornerstone content, which is sort of long form of videos that have this. This is cornerstone content where we're actually diving very deeply into something. So we took it one level deeper and got very specific with how you actually create content. We talked about our content calendar. Okay. We talked about our, where everything goes and for the different partners and how we arrange them. And we delve pretty deep. Now, next is AI innovation, okay? Now, this one's pretty important because this is about how we produce the vast majority of the videos for the law firm using AI. The partners are all English as a second language speakers. They all speak English pretty well, and they certainly understand it very well, but they have an accent, and sometimes their grammar is a little bit backwards or something like this. And so we can make it perfect, so we actually talk through like production steps, training footage, training it, creating the avatar, writing the script, rendering the video, editing the video, the entire process. And so we talked about all the tools we use, what tools we use, and then these are a bunch of videos that we produced with the AI avatar. Those are not real people. So when you see them moving, they're really not real people. They're actually, most people don't even believe me when I say that. They're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, that's AI. They didn't have to show up. They didn't have to do anything. And then we even talked about some of our video editing and how we divide it up. You can go back and watch the episode where we actually show the AI videos. Your mind will be blown, but we unveiled everything in that episode. And then next is this episode right here. You're watching it right now. So this is kind of like a paradox. We're in the video talking about the video that's about the video that we're in. Taylor, you have any thoughts?
I mean, this is such a cool production process for me, because I got with this from the beginning, and I worked with you the most. And at first when we gave this idea to the partners, they a little bit doubted, they don't know if it's gonna be a success. But you know what, after everything, all of the strategy we just show you through 12 episodes, the content and then the website and everything just get better. Partners have more connection on LinkedIn, and they even people connected them on Gmail or LinkedIn to talk about business, and they have they see more people, and they have more opportunities. And I think this is a very cool and potential marketing strategy in general.
100%. So with that, I think that takes us all the way to the end. There were 12 episodes. They were cool episodes, and they were springing from episode to episode. So with that, we're at the end, and I'll let Taylor have the final word. But essentially, I want to say thank you for watching not only this episode, but for all 12 episodes, the ones that you watched, and for coming along with us on this journey. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, follow, comment, subscribe, all that. If you're watching on TikTok, follow, like, comment. If you're watching it on, make sure that you connect, and that you like the videos and comments, because it helps us. But mostly, we thoroughly enjoyed this, and we're happy to answer any questions. So you're welcome to reach out. Honestly, as one final thought, you might be watching this if you made it all the way through. So Taylor, with that, we like meeting people, and we like helping people. So Taylor, I'm going to give you the last word. What do you want to say here at the end here?
Thank you very much for watching this episode. And everything we just show you will be available on our membership site. So check that out, and also the YouTube channel as well.